You've talked several times about the relationship between the songwriter and the publishing company. What does that mean, and what is that typically like? Although I know very rarely is it typical.
Right. Well, there are some kind of standard or usual relationships. So a publisher is someone who exploits the song.
Mm-hmm.
And in the music business, the word exploit is a good word. Okay,
Right.
you want that to happen if you want to.
It's got legs,
Right.
and it's making money.
Exactly right. The job of the publisher is to find ways that the song makes money. So there are a few different ways that a song makes money. One, it gets put into sheet music, but that's not really a big money maker anymore.
Right.
It gets recorded by another recording artist. Beyonce records your song, you might as well just go pick out your house.
Right.
It gets licensed for television and commercials or films and that kind of thing, as we talked about. Or the song gets performed by artists in venues. The song it's performed in lounges in Vegas. It's performed in arenas, artists on tour, that kind of stuff. Those are the main sources of income. Also, video games has been a really huge growing area of income for songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
So what the publisher's job is to find uses for the song and to collect license fees.
Okay.
Making sure that people aren't using the song without your permission, and if they are, making sure they are now paying for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they collect, the big publishers collect all around the world. They have partners in all the countries, and those partners collect on behalf of the song and the songwriter, and they send the money back to the U.S. The publisher collects it, sends it on to the songwriter. So that's the main job of a publisher. Now there's a couple different ways that the relationship is defined. You have what's called a co-publishing deal,
Mm-hmm.
and these terms aren't always terms of art, so you really have to explore what the meaning is.
Okay.
But generally,
Well, give me the explanation in dollars. For every dollar that the song brings in, how much does the songwriter get, and how much does the publisher
okay,
get?
that's a good way to look at it. Under a co-publishing deal, typically the songwriter would get 75% of that dollar, 75 cents,
Mm-hmm.
and the publisher would get a quarter.
Okay.
All right. There's an administrative deal that generally is a 90-10 or 85-15 split in favor of the songwriter. The administrator takes 10 or 15% depending on the deal. There's still what we call the old time or the standard publishing deal, which is 50 cents to the publisher, 50 cents to the songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that as often anymore. Typically, if there was a big advance from the publisher,
Mm-hmm.
then it would be more likely that there'd be a 50-50 split. And in Nashville, they still have the songwriter as an employee deal, where you go to work 9 to 5 and your job is to write songs. The publisher pays you a salary,
Mm-hmm.
and the publisher owns the song. That was the way it was in the Brill Building back in New York in the 50s and 60s. That's the way it was in Tin Pan Alley days, but it's very unusual anywhere but Nashville these days.
So I write a song, but I don't have the time or the connections or maybe the inclination to go out and say, hey, everybody like my song. So I turn that over to a publisher.
Right.
And the publisher basically spends their time trying to find ways for the song to be used, and they take a cut
Right.
of the money generated for doing that.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. You hire a publisher to go work your song, and you, rather than paying them like a weekly fee, you pay them a percentage somewhere between 10 and 50%
Mm-hmm.
of the income generated from that song, or your catalog of songs, depending on the deal you've made with them.
Makes sense.